miles an hour.
Right. Someone who dominates the game for 9 innings.
Exactly. But what if I told you that one of the most feared players of the last decade, a guy with 3 World Series rings, barely ever swung a bat?
It sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? But it's actually one of the most fascinating statistical anomalies in modern sports history.
We are talking, of course, about Terrance Gore, and sadly, the reason we're diving into his career today is, well, it's tragic.
Yeah.
The news broke this weekend that Gore passed away at just 34 years old. It's a complete gut punch to the baseball world. But rather than just reading an obituary, we wanted to use this deep dive to really unpack the existence of this specialist, because Terrance Gore wasn't just a fast guy, he was a weapon.
He really was. And he challenges our whole definition of value in sports. You know, we usually think value comes from versatility, the 5-tool player. Gore was, I mean, he was essentially a 1-tool player.
But that one tool was so sharp.
So elite, so sharp, that managers like Buck Showalter and Dave Roberts treated him like a nuclear option.
So let's start with the immediate context, because 74 is just, it's terrifyingly young.
Yeah.
The Kansas City Royals, they made the announcement on Saturday.
It's just brutal. And according to the reports that are coming from his wife, Brittany, this was from complications following a routine surgery.
Wow.
I mean, it's the kind of thing that just stops you in your tracks. You hear routine surgery and you don't expect this outcome.
No. And the reaction from the league was instant. You look at the teams he played for: Royals, Braves, Dodgers, Cubs, Mets. They all put out statements. But it was the personal tributes that really caught my eye. Eric Hosmer, who played with him in Kansas City, called him a great teammate. And Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, said it was just very sad to wake up to that news.
And that teammate aspect is so crucial here. I mean, think about the locker room dynamic for a second.
Right.
Here's a guy who is a journeyman. He's bouncing from team to team, often on minor league deals. And when he gets called up, he might play for, 30 seconds once a week?
Yeah, maybe.
In a lot of sports cultures, that guy is on the periphery. He's an outsider.
Yeah.
But Gore clearly wasn't. He was beloved.
It speaks to a lack of ego, right? You have to check your ego at the door when your job is to sit on the bench for 3 hours, watch everyone else play, and then maybe get tapped on the shoulder in the 9th inning to run 90 feet.
It requires a unique psychological makeup. You aren't the star. You aren't getting the big contract. But you are the guy they trust with the most high-leverage moment of the game.
And that creates a bond.
A huge bond.
Let's get into that moment, because that is where the legend of Terrance Gore lives. He was a pinch-running specialist. Now, for anyone who hasn't watched baseball in the last 10 years, maybe you could explain why that is such a weird designation in the modern era.
Well, rosters are so small. You've got 26 spots. And teams are obsessed with flexibility. They want a guy who can play outfield, infield, maybe catch in an emergency.
Yeah.
So dedicating one of those precious roster spots to a guy who essentially cannot hit, it's almost mathematically impossible in today's game. It's just inefficient.
And yet, teams kept signing him.
Because he broke the math.
Yeah.
Buck Showalter, who is one of the smartest tactical minds in the game,
Yeah.
he managed against Gore in the 2014 playoffs and then later managed him on the Mets.
Okay.
Showalter had this quote that I can't stop thinking about. He said, if the score was tied and you got him into the game to run, it was like the game was over.
The game was over. That is wild. He's standing on first base. He hasn't even scored yet, but the manager on the other side feels like checkmate has already happened.
It's this concept of induced fear. It's not just that Gore is fast. I mean, there are plenty of guys in AA who can run a 4.2 40. The difference with Gore is the disruption he caused just by existing. When he stood on first base, the pitcher stopped pitching to the batter.
Because he's worried about the jump.
He is terrified of the jump. So now, the pitcher is slide stepping, which ruins his timing. He's throwing over to first base 3-4 times. He's losing focus.
Right.
The catcher is calling fastballs because he needs the ball there quicker to throw, which means the batter, who's usually a pretty good hitter in these situations, knows a fastball is probably coming.
So Gore didn't just steal bases. He degraded the entire defensive ecosystem just by tying his shoelaces.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. His value wasn't just the 90 feet he took. It was the mistakes he forced the other team to make.
And the defense knew they were in trouble. You mentioned Showalter. He talked about the specific dilemma of just trying to tag him out.
Yes, he said you couldn't use a standard tag. If you tried to just catch the ball and sweep the glove down,
You'd miss him.
you were going to miss him. He was too low and too compact. Showalter said you had to try to ride him off the base.
What does that even mean, write him off?
It's a physical, almost like a contact sport move. The fielder has to catch the ball and essentially body block the runner, push him off the bag while keeping the tag applied, hoping that for a split second, Gore's foot comes off the rubber.
Because if you just rely on speed versus speed...
Forget it. Gore wins. Showalter called him a light slider.
I love that term, light slider. It sounds like a beer order, but I assume he means the physics of the slide itself.
It's all about friction. Most guys, they dig into the dirt to stop. They hit the bag hard. Gore had this ability to almost, like, hydroplane over the dirt. He would hit the bag and pop up immediately.
Like a pop-up slide.
But instantaneous. He wouldn't overshoot. He would hit the bag and be standing up in one motion, ready to go to third on a bad throw.
And that puts immense pressure on the defense. If that ball gets away for even a second, he's gone.
That lightness is so rare. It requires incredible body control.
It's ironic because visually, he didn't look like some kind of physical marvel. He was 5'7".
5'7", drafted in the 20th round out of Gulf Coast State College. He was not a prospect. If you saw him in street clothes, you would not think elite professional athlete.
But then you see the numbers, and let's look at the stats paradox here because this is what makes him a unicorn. He played in parts of 8 MLB seasons. 8 years.
Which is a lifetime in baseball. The average career is much, much shorter than that.
In those 8 years, he played in 112 games, but he only had 85 plate appearances.
Think about that ratio. Just let that sink in. He appeared in more games than he had times at bat. That almost never happens unless you're a relief pitcher.
And the stolen bases.
Yeah.
48 steals and 58 attempts.
And that is the key metric right there. We talked about the math earlier. In the Moneyball era, giving away an out is a sin. So if you're going to steal, the analytics say you need a success rate of about 75% just to break even.
Okay.
If you're below 75%, you're actually hurting your team by running.
And Gore was well above that.
Oh, he was sitting at an 82, 83% success rate. And remember, these aren't surprise steals. When Terrance Gore enters the game in the 9th inning, the pitcher knows he's running. The catcher knows. The 40,000 fans know.
The vendor selling hot dogs knows.
Exactly. Everybody knows. And he still was successful 82% of the time. That is dominance.
It's like telling the other team, I am going to throw a rock at your head, and then you still hit them with the rock.
It is. Showalter compared him to Deion Sanders. He said, some players are fast, but when Gore ran, it was at another gear. It's that explosive acceleration from 0 to 60. But we have to acknowledge the physical toll of that style.
Yeah, the former Royals GM, Dayton Moore, he touched on this. He said Gore was fearless, but admitted he always worried he would hurt himself.
Because of how he slid. He slid late and he slid hard. When you're 5'7" and you are launching yourself into a 200-pound shortstop or a solid base, the impact is violent. Moore knew that every single time Gore went in to pinch run, he was risking injury. He was throwing his body around like a crash test dummy because that was the only way he could stay on the roster.
It's a high wire act. If he gets thrown out, he has no value. If he gets hurt, he has no value. He has to be perfect, physically and execution-wise, every single time.
And that leads to the mental resilience, which I think is maybe the most underrated part of his career. It wasn't always a sure thing that he'd even make it.
There's a story about him in A-ball, right? He almost quit.
He did. He was struggling. And we have to be honest about why he couldn't hit. He had a career minor league average of .237. He hit 1 home run in over 2,500 minor league at-bats.
Wait, 1 home run in 2,500 tries?
1. So he knew. He knew he wasn't going to make the big leagues as an outfielder. He was ready to walk away.
Wow.
It took Mike Sweeney and Lonnie Goldberg guys in the Royals front office to talk him off the ledge. They had to convince him that this one skill was enough if he perfected it.
I mean, can you imagine that conversation? Terrance, you can't hit, you have no power, but you're really fast, so stick with it.
And to his credit, he didn't just rely on the speed. Showalter mentioned that Gore took batting practice every single day. He did outfield drills every day. He worked as if he was going to start, even though he knew he wouldn't. Dayton Moore said he wasn't satisfied with just being known for base stealing.
He wanted to be a ball player.
He did. And even though he never became that everyday starter, that work ethic is why managers trusted him. They knew he wasn't just goofing off in the bullpen. He was locked in.
And that trust, it translated into hardware. We mentioned the 3 rings. It's almost Forrest Gump-esque, how he always ended up in the victory parade.
It is uncanny.
So let's trace the timeline. 2015 Royals, they win the World Series.
Yep. And he was a huge part of that postseason run, just terrifying teams late in games.
Then the 2020 Dodgers. They beat the Rays.
He played sparingly, wasn't on the final World Series roster, but he was part of that machine that got them there.
And then 2021, the Atlanta Braves. This one is my favorite because of how improbable it was.
This is the ultimate Gore season.
Yeah.
He wasn't even on the team for most of the year. He signs a minor league deal.
Yeah.
He's playing for the Gwinnett Stripers.
Right.
The Braves call him up right at the very end. He appears in the NLDS against the Brewers Game 2. He pinch runs, causes chaos. He doesn't play in the World Series, but he gets the ring.
It's maximum efficiency. Minimal time on field, maximum reward.
But I don't want to frame it like he was just lucking into rings. There's a specific lineage here. When he went to the Dodgers in 2020, he connected with Dave Roberts.
Okay.
Now, Roberts is the manager, but what is Dave Roberts famous for as a player?
The steal. 2004 ALCS, Red Sox versus Yankees.
Arguably the most famous stolen base in baseball history.
Right.
Roberts was a pinch runner. He stood on first base against Mariano Rivera, season on the line, and stole second.
Right. If he gets thrown out, the Red Sox curse probably continues. He made it.
And so when Gore gets to L.A.,
Roberts gets it.
Roberts said they had a conversation where he told Gore, "I know what it's like." He said Gore knew exactly what I meant. There's a brotherhood there. It's a very, very small club of guys who carry the weight of the entire season on their legs for 5 seconds. Roberts saw himself in Gore.
It's just amazing to think that a guy with 16 career hits, 16 hits in 8 years, has that kind of legacy.
And 1 RBI. Don't forget the 1 career RBI.
1 RBI, but he has 3 rings. It forces you to rethink what a baseball career even looks like. We obsess over the stats that accumulate 3,000 hits, 500 home runs. Gore's career was all about